So what we are going to head to now is we're going to talk about books and blogs. So somebody asked me once, how did you learn facilitation? And a lot of my answer was just that I learned, let me do this. Nope. This one? Yeah, cool. Okay, so when I was getting started with facilitation, I was doing a lot of trial by fire. I was facilitating and I was learning and like noticing what worked and what didn't. And there wasn't a lot of other, like for me, I didn't know of a lot of other ways to learn facilitation. I didn't know that resources or support existed, but there are there are resources and support, and some of those I've helped create, and some of those I have sought out in the many years that I have now been facilitating. So I think books and blog posts are really great places to learn about kind of like more of the like philosophy approach and like more, not even necessarily big picture, but just a little bit broader understanding than just knowing the activities. Activities are wonderful, and activities are really helpful to be able to reach for, and like they make up the kind of like skeleton of our facilitations. But we also want to know, like, how do we support those activities with good framing, good energy, good approaches? How do we make sure that we're focused on the right things, or that we've considered what we should consider when we're going into a facilitation? And I would say for me, that is where books and blogs have been the most impactful. So I will show you around a couple of places where you might want to explore some books and some blogs. And so let's hop into that now. So the first one is a resource that I helped co-create many years ago called Facilitating.xyz. So let's head over to facilitating.xyz. Okay, so this is the landing page for Facilitating.xyz. The idea behind this project was a free online resource for all facilitators. So no matter what content you're facilitating, this would be a place that you could learn, and you could explore kind of support and resources for facilitators. So while this project hasn't been added to in a number of years, it's still a really great place to go find information, and to explore, and maybe even to like find other people to explore what they're doing, and kind of as like a launching pad. So I'll just show you around to see what's on here. We do have articles, which is kind of like maybe the most traditional kind of like blog ideas. So these articles, really range from like, how do you do video facilitation? How do you plan modularly? To, how do you manage overtalkers? Or what does trauma-informed facilitation look like? So there's a lot on here for you to explore, and some of them are written by the contributor or the like founders, and some of them are written by contributors as well, and things that we pulled from our interviews. So speaking of interviews, and I know this is maybe a little bit outside the scope of books and blogs, but there are a ton of interviews that we did with facilitators a number of years ago, and you can explore those. So there's Mark Collard from Playmeo, which we have just talked about, and then there's a bunch of other wonderful people who do content creation around facilitation, who share their knowledge more widely. Amy Clymer would definitely be one of those people. Michelle Cummings would definitely be one of those people. So there's a bunch of really wonderful people on here that you can learn from, and that also might be a really lovely launching pad to like explore other facilitators who are putting information out into the world. The other thing that I wanted to make sure you knew on Facilitating XYZ is that there are books, and specifically like book recommendations that we have for where to learn about facilitation, or books that we have learned a lot from as facilitators. So this is Mark Collard's book, Serious Fun. I also have it back there on my shelf, and I think it's a really great book for kind of new facilitators or people who want to be regrounded in facilitation, to understand some of those like essential elements to creating really, as Mark says, fun programs. So there's that. Visual Meetings is a really cool book for people who are interested in getting started with visual facilitation or graphic facilitation. We've got Trauma Stewardship, On Dialogue, Teaching to Transgress, one of my favorite books of all time, all about kind of like teaching as a practice, education as a practice of freedom. To me, as somebody who did a lot of social justice facilitation for a long time, this was a cornerstone book for me. And then Unlocking the Magic of Facilitation. So this was a book that I co-wrote with myself and Sam. And this is a book we wrote. So Unlocking the Magic, let me actually grab it because let's do it right. Okay, so Unlocking the Magic. Let me grab it. Unlocking the Magic of Facilitation was a book that me and Sam co-wrote when we were doing a lot of Train the Trainers. And with Unlocking the Magic, we wanted people to have a place to kind of get a wide swath of facilitation information without having to go like really deep or take a long course on facilitation. So with Unlocking the Magic, we wanted to focus on 11 different things. So let me see if we can open it up here to the table of contents. So the idea here was basically, if I had a weekend or like a week-long retreat to teach people facilitation, these were the things I think I would want them to know. I would want them to know that facilitation is a nuanced skill, that there's a difference between teaching, facilitating, and lecturing, that facilitation is not about being neutral, how to read a group, how both and is greater than but or, how to do the yes and thing in facilitation, how to ask good questions, how to create space for vulnerability, how to navigate your own triggers, how to learn from emotions that other people are having and your own emotions, and how to model continuous learning as a facilitator. So those are the 11 chapters in Unlocking the Magic. And this book came out, 5-6 years ago, and it's still something I would recommend to people. I'm really proud of this book. It's something that I think is really useful without being that big. Right? So it's a really great starting place. What's cool about Unlocking the Magic too is the ebook is pay what you want. So you can get it for free if you need, or you can pay whatever amount you think is fair. And I think if you buy this book, from a bookstore, it's like $15. So as costs go, it's a really effective way to get a really kind of broad base to begin your facilitation practice. So Unlocking the Magic, really great resource, and I will leave that link below as well. You can also find it on FacilitatingXYZ. And last thing I'll say about FacilitatingXYZ, in terms of Unlocking the Magic, is that you can, if you go on here, we actually have some lesson plans written up. So this is teaching Unlocking the Magic of Facilitation. So this is how, this is actually a lesson plan for how to teach the difference between facilitating, lecturing, and teaching. This is something I still do all the time. I think it's a really powerful activity, and it's a cool kind of like accompaniment to this book. So I know some folks who give Unlocking the Magic to new student facilitators, and if you want like lesson plans or ways to teach the book after they've read it or in conjunction with their reading, there's actually lesson plans that you can find on Facilitating.xyz. So that's pretty cool. Okay, I'm gonna put the book down and grab some water here. So. Okay, so in terms of books and blogs, we've just covered a number of books that you can find here that we really love, and and there are also book lists and guides that you can also go and explore. So on the Facilitator Cards blog, which is a pretty good place to learn about some of the specifics of facilitation that we really like. You can look for training resources, and you can kind of filter by that. So we're really looking for resources today. And one of the things that we did this winter is we created gift guides for facilitation gear, tech and software, and also for books. So if Facilitating XYZ, if that book list is something that you've already explored or nothing's really resonating for you from there, then if you click this one, which we'll also link below, we have some other books on here as well. Art of Gathering by Priya Parker. It's a really cool book. Definitely worth picking up. To me, it's got a lot of really great foundations and can be like even broader than just facilitation, but just anybody who brings people together. So Art of Gathering, that's a really good one to explore on there. And I just want to give that one a shout out as well. So there are a number of facilitators that we've mentioned. So Mark from Playmeo that we've mentioned already, he has a blog that he regularly updates with facilitation advice on Playmeo. So even if you are on Playmeo and you're wanting more information, but not necessarily about the activities themselves, Playmeo's blog is something that you might want to check out. So that's a really cool place to get really I find one thing Mark does really well is he writes short, digestible blog posts. So I think most of them are under 5 minutes, and some of them are even 1 minute. Why icebreakers don't work and how to fix them. Those are really specific information that's really helpful for facilitators.